Come on in the building, family. Let's talk about it. While you coming in, hit that subscribe button. Let's get it in. Come on in. Let's talk about it. Peace and blessings, family. Welcome to the Real Truth and Power podcast, where we provide health, wealth, and knowledge of self. I wanted to talk to you guys about something that everybody should be talking about right now. The University of Texas, should the black players be allowed to leave? Should the NCAA grant them, not only should they be able to leave, that they should be able to go to wherever they want to go without any violations or any restrictions. We're going to talk about it right after this.
You are now tuned in to Real Truth and Power, the show that uplifts the community with health, wealth, and knowledge of self. Here's your host, Everett Winchester.
All right, once again, please, man, hit that like, hit that share, hit that subscribe button. A lot of people don't know about what's going on, so we want to get this information out to our people. It is very important. My name is Everett Winchester. As you can see, I'm the host of Real Truth and Power Live, and we are going to get into it. It seems like it's always something, man. It seems like it's always something, so let's talk about it. The University of Texas. It's going down there. They have a fight song. They have a school song that seems to be racist. And it seems that the players are boycotting, usually after a football game or basketball game or something like that, or maybe even before. I haven't ever been to a Texas Longhorns game. That they play this song, the school song, the fight song, and it has history of racism. The song was written, I believe, in 1903. I've been doing a little research, and it's called The Eyes of Texas. The song was derived by a quote from General Robert Lee, who, of course, was the general of the Confederacy. They fought against the North, and they wanted to fight to have slavery. They had no respect for blacks, and they wanted slavery. Now, back in the day, after the Civil Rights War and everything like that, I just want to give you a history of the song before we go into this. Robert E. Lee was actually president of a Virginia school called Washington University in Virginia. The school is called Washington University. Now the school is called Washington and Lee University. I didn't know that. That was after Robert E. Lee, but I'm not too familiar with the school, even though I have, heard about the school or saw the name of the school. So Washington and Lee University. Well, anyway, he was the president there, and he always had a saying, and I believe the saying was, to remind people that about the history of the South. The eyes of the South are upon you. So in about 1902, a student that went to Washington University, Washington and Lee University now, was at that school, wound up being the president of Texas. And I guess he kept using that phrase. He paraphrased it and said, to the young men and women, the eyes of Texas are upon you. Later on, a student, probably a year or so later, a student created the song, The Eyes Are Upon You. And here's when it gets racism. the racism really kicks in and what's really bothering the players. As you research the song, you find out that the song first was performed. It used to be performed as a minstrel show. For those that don't know what a minstrel show is, that's when white people dress up as blackface, and it's kind of disrespectful. They use us as kind of like how stereotypical of how they perceive black people back in the day. So it's a lot of racial tone with the song. Texas University is very difficult because if you go across to the university, they still have buildings, they still have cafes and things of that nature that's named after historical Confederate soldiers. So let's get into it. The players are saying, man, we're not going to stand for the song, or we're not going to be around when the song is played. Okay, respect the players. It shouldn't be a big deal. But oh no, let's talk about it. Some emails were sent. I don't know if they were sent to the athletic director or the president of the university. But let's look at a couple of them. Here is one. I am not advising you to take any position regarding the issue right now, other than to say the eyes needs to be our song. Bob Rowling, I guess he's a donor and alumni, because the alumni are tripping. They're the ones that are complaining. And he wrote in an email to someone in I guess it's a Tribune down in Texas. I am wanting you to be aware of the talk of the town regarding University of Texas. There are a lot of folks on this email chain who love UT, University of Texas, and are in positions of influence. Now, let me stop with this email first. If you know anything about sports, especially universities like Texas, those big universities, a lot of them have donors, a lot of high position rich people that, went to the school and give back. And a lot of these donors donate a lot to the sports program. So automatically, as a black athlete, you're going into this nice gym, because it's a white school. It's not a HBCU, this rich, big auditorium. And that's donated. A lot of that has sponsors that are rich people. These rich people are probably racist. If they probably are down south and have that South mentality. But it gets deeper, because that guy was just making you aware of this email chain. And let's check out another email. Here we go. The eyes of Texas is non-negotiable, wrote another graduate in an email obtained by the Tribune. The university redacted their name, so the university didn't want the donor to be known, but they claim to have held season tickets since 1990. That's over 20 years ago. The email continued. If it is not kept, talking about the song, and fully embraced, talking about this racist song, I will not be donating any additional money to athletics or the university or attending any events. It gets a little deeper. It is time for you to put your foot down and make it perfectly clear that the heritage of Texas will not be lost, said another donor in a separate email. Their name was also kept confidential by the University of Texas. It is sad that it is offending the blacks. As I said before, the blacks are free, and it's time for them to move to another state where everything is in their favor. It is time for the blacks to move to another state. So they're talking about the players at the school that are out of state. They're talking about the people that are in state. They're strictly saying we're not going to get rid of this culture or this demeaning song. And if they don't, we're sorry that it offends them, but they can move to another state. I'm going to look at another one. Alumni are pulling planned gifts, canceling donations, walking away from causes and programs that have been their passion for years, even decades, and turning away in disgust. Last night, one texted me at 1 a.m. trying to find a way to revoke a 7-figure donation President of the Longhorn Alumni Band and Charitable Fund Board of Trustees, Kent Koska, I hope I'm saying that right, said to a group of administrators, "This is not hyperbole or exaggeration. Real damage is being done every day by the ongoing silence." So let's talk about it. You have these rich people that donate this money, and they're upset that the black athlete is refusing to stand during a song that he feels brings back racism. It reminds you of how they fought for the Confederacy, but more importantly, the minstrel shows and how they played the song. It's disrespectful to the players, and the players are tired of it. We're in a new generation where they're taking down statues all over the country, and they're fighting against this past racism. And here we have these rich ass donors who are pretty much saying, we're not putting any money in Texas University. These guys need to go to another place. They can go and live if you go to the state university or not. Period. This is a general statement. Blacks are not welcome here. If they cannot embrace this song, they are free to go to another state that will favor them. My question to you, if you were a parent, would you allow your child to go to a school that has donors, rich people donating money, and saying that you need to value the traditions of the South and the heritage of the Confederacy, whether you're black or not? If you don't believe in this song, and yeah, they wore blackface back in the day, but we don't give a damn because this is the state of Texas, the Eyes of Texas by Robert Lee, the general of the Confederacy, will always be on you. And you must take that into consideration, and you must learn, and you must deal with it or get the hell out. I would not allow my child to go to the University of Texas. I think the NCAA should put a statement out denouncing those sponsors and those donors. And I think if the players would like to transfer, there should not be any restrictions. They should be able to leave the University of Texas. And this goes to all the black athletes. If you look at basketball, the moneymaker in college sports. If you look at football, the moneymaker in college sports, the moneymaker, majority are black players. So it's time for them to use their voice. It's time for them to say, hey, we want to go somewhere where we're appreciated, where we're respected. And I'm sure that's weighing on the athletes heavily. So my question is, should they leave? Would you want your child to leave a place where they have a full scholarship? Now, here's the thing. Most of these players, they're pretty good if they're going to the University of Texas. So they can get a scholarship, most of them, somewhere else. And it's tough if they're already there, if they've envisioned being there for a long period of time. But if they don't want to support that song, and donors, people that are backing a program, are saying they need to leave, I got a question. If a drug dealer was backing the University of Texas, and you found out the donor was a big-time drug dealer, what would they say then? If the donor was a known racist, and these guys seem like they're racist, what would you say then? If they're insensitive to the black agenda and to the black student athlete, what would you say? These guys kick out major money. They're major supporters. They got a lot to do with the hiring and the policies at that school. So, this is a time where we need to start thinking. I need you guys to put your comments in. Please hit the like and the share button, because a lot of people don't know this is going on at the University of Texas. But I think that the University of Texas players, black and white players that don't agree with what's going on, should leave that university. And I wouldn't send any black student athlete to the University of Texas until they reform and say, hey, we're not going to be supporting this song. It's time for a change. History can always be reviewed in the eyes of people differently. But we're not back then, we're now. So no matter what you felt back then, and half of these people weren't even living then. That goes to how deep racism is. It's taught. It's taught over and over again and instilled into generations. And now they just show racism in different forms and fashion. But it lets you know, man, Texas is still racist. There are people in power that are still racist. Man, what do you think these athletes should do? Please, again, hit that like and share, and definitely hit that subscribe button. We just want to get this information out to the people. Thank you for tuning in. And I just think that these players need to transfer. I just think that we're at a state right now that, black people not getting, especially in this day and age, with all of the police brutality, the awareness of what's going on, for you guys to not uphold the level of integrity to an organization that you support. Why should anybody support the organization? Maybe you don't want to have a good sports team. Maybe you don't want black athletes there. Maybe you don't care. Maybe you're just all about racism. Or maybe you think these black athletes should just be happy to be at the University of Texas and you don't think anything about their character. I don't know, man. What do y'all say? Hey, leave some comments. I need some comments. We're out of here. Please share this information and definitely put your comments in. Should the black players at the University of Texas leave? And should all black athletes start boycotting the University of Texas? Thank you for tuning in. Real Truth and Power, health, wealth, knowledge yourself. Learn yourself. I support you, brothers, down at the University of Texas. We out of here.
Real truth and power, health, wealth, knowledge of self, uplifting the community. Let's talk about it. Real truth and power, health, wealth, knowledge of self, uplifting the community. Let's talk about it.